Hey everybody, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Today we're going to be doing a Terran versus Zerg between two of the very top players in the world. We have Rush here in the top left. Of course, he's been at the top of ASL so many times. And in the bottom right, we have Soma. I do have a little bit of sad news for you guys. Soma, is a player that has been to the finals multiple times in ASL. I call him the strategic leader of Zerg. He basically makes the best Zerg guides out there for people, changes the metagame probably more than anyone. I recently was talking about how I think he's probably the most balanced Zerg player, like the best macro and the best mixture of macro and aggression, right? Not quite as good at attacking as Zealot, not quite as good as macro as Sulky, but like probably the best overall mixture of that, which is probably a big reason for his success. But the sad thing is that unfortunately his time has come for the military. He is, if you're watching this live the day that it's been put out, he went to the military about 1 week ago, and it is unfortunate. But all able-bodied Korean men do need to go to the military, and that includes StarCraft players, unfortunately. So it's going to probably be around, I don't know exactly which post he got, but generally it's about 18 months. So we're not going to be seeing too many new Soma games. I'll still grab some as they come. The thing is, the rule for joining the military is you can't do anything that makes money. So Soma won't be streaming. He won't be playing tournaments. But he can still like ladder in his free time, and he probably will. So I'll try to keep track of what account he's on and still bring some Soma games here and there where I can. But yeah, obviously he won't be anywhere near as active as he has been. So yeah, it's a sad thing. He was one of the younger players, so it makes sense he had to go eventually. And yeah, there you have it. I just wanted to let you guys know about that. And I'll still cast. I still have a good clutch of recent Soma games from right before he's gone to the military. So I'm sure I'll cast a few more of him as well from the pre-military era. Anyways, they've been talking a lot. I haven't really been looking at that, but it looks like we're having a wall here on Invader by Rush. And for Soma, it's just a hatchery first. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. This is a pretty normal wall. There is a hole here for Zerglings and Marines to get through. Just to mention. And yeah, the drone harassing, but as the Marine pops out, he is going to have to just drill this drone home. Don't want to keep that there and lose it. Oh no. Oh, okay. I was going to say I went the wrong way. Oh no, the pathing's terrible. But there was an egg there for him to slip through. It got me scared. I thought he was going to actually lose that for a moment. Either way, looking back at home, we should be seeing that layer start very, very shortly here. Let's see, like a 305 layer about. There it is, 306, 307. So this is probably just going to be a third hatch in the main base play from Soma. He backed up his economy a little bit, slightly later with the gas and everything does get your economy a bit better. Probably just wants to hopefully pop out like 7 mutas at once, right? That's kind of what you're going for. And Rush is actually going for a 2 racks play. Okay, so this is actually kind of nice for what he's against, in my opinion, right? So if you're, let me explain this, okay? So if you go for the quicker layer, like let's say a quick layer is like 2 minutes 56 seconds through 3 minutes and 1 second, and then the later layer is like 3 minutes and 2 seconds through 3 minutes and 7 seconds, okay? And those are both 2 hatch builds. The secondary one that he did is just slightly later gas, so it gets a quicker third hatchery and gets a little bit more minerals, and oftentimes skips Zergling speed, but not always. We can see here he is getting Zergling speed, but you're not taking a base out on the map. If you do the other type, oftentimes you take a base out on the map, and you definitely get Zergling speed, so you have some potential to stop attacks coming in. Now, what this build does, the 2 racks Academy Rush, is it moves out before the Mutalisks are ready, and it's basically to force Sunken Colonies, and the Sunken Colonies slow the Mutalisks. So what I was talking about with this is probably what Soma is lining up for. I don't have the build orders for Zerg perfectly in my head, but I believe what the build he's doing here, he's trying to pop 7 mutas at once. So if we have the pressure build come out here from Rush, he may be able to force 2 Sunken Colonies, which of course will cost 150 minerals plus for the beginning of the creeps, and then 100 more, right? So 250 minerals, so he might not be able to afford all 7 mutas at once, right? So something like this can mess up the build that his opponent has chosen. Now, here goes the creep colony, and we'll see if that's exactly how that works out or not. He starts one. He does have speedlings here, right? So he's trying to kind of do both things. He's looking to, you know, maybe slow this down enough that he doesn't need to make that much. Has one sunken being made. The spire is almost done. He's making a few more lings as well. Counterattacks into the depot. And actually does end up killing the depot. So that is a little bit annoying there for Rush for sure. Rush gets supply block. That's kind of a big deal. He's walking down now. And notice, right, he's had to make lings. He's making 4 more lings. And we saw 4 mutas made and then 2 more. So the mutas are stifled here a little bit for Soma. And of course, Rush will just turn around. He only forced 1 sunken. So, you know, this is Soma trying to fight back against this by getting as little as possible to hold. Sometimes you'll see this happen and, you know, I'll say, oh, he messed up here and he'll die to the initial Marines, right? That's not going to be the case here. Like, Soma did it fine with the amount of speedlings he made. But you can see, right, like the mutas, he's got 5 mutas here. This isn't what he was looking for. He was hoping to get a little bit more. Now, out comes those Marines and medics, and he will be able to remove this with all of the speedlings he had. So this is actually quite a nice job by Soma to kill that off. Now, this, like, I feel like this is now Soma favored, right? So Rush did that move. When he started walking back, I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Like, he forced a little bit, and now he's going home. If he had gotten that home, I would feel like he's ahead, right? But definitely those, like, the lings that were made by Soma found a lot of value reducing the Marine medic count. Now, let's take a look. He's on 4 barracks. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, so he's gone 4 racks, and he is going +1. This is actually something that a lot of Korean pros were doing about a year ago. I was told about this build order actually from Scan, where a lot of people were going 2 racks Academy Rush like he just did, and then following up with 4 racks to continually put on pressure. So I'm really excited to see how he wants to try to pull this one off. Now, comes in with the mutas, harasses a little bit, slows that factory. He sees the factory timing. That's one of the most important things for Zerg, is to see exactly how quick starports are going to be up, if a tank push can happen, that type of thing. Let's look back at Soma's base. He has that 3rd hatchery finished, just now starting some gas, continually pumping out mutas. He is popping a few drones here and there, and that should be the Queen's Nest. No, the Hydralisk stand going down, and there's the Queen's Nest. So yeah, it looks like he is getting ready, and this is perfectly timed. Okay, so the Queen's Nest, just to give you a little bit of a lesson here, basically, if the Queen's Nest gets started around the time the factory is like 2/3-ish the way done, maybe 75% the way done, then tank pushes don't work. You have defilers with consume out before the tanks can get here and bust you. All right, so that's kind of how that works out, because you need to move out with 2 tanks, right? And siege mode does take a long time. So when you add that all together, like, basically he just made himself invulnerable to tank pushes. We should not see a tank push, and in fact, you hear scans going down. One of the scans very likely checked for the Queen's Nest, which is generally at the natural. And he throws down 2 starports. So doesn't even try the add-on. 5th barracks on the way. Keeping a lot of Marines and medics out in the front. This is a pressure play. He wants to act like he can counterattack at any time, but he's got to be careful. There are a lot of mutas and lings here. This is a very scary group of units. Okay, he does reinforce. Okay, that's a really healthy bioforce right there. Very, very healthy indeed. Rush trying to be out here and trying to show that he can do some damage, but honestly, the micro of Soma is fantastic. Does lose an extra muta there, so loses a couple mutas trying to harass this force. Gonna back up. He does rejoin those extra 2 mutas he had to this group, so has a full group once again. You can see reducing this count quite a bit. He does have that +1 attack, so does a little bit more damage here. Looking back at home, he has that hive. Evolution Chamber's up, but hasn't started his upgrades as of yet. Lurker upgrade is done with lurkers on the way. 4 lurkers up here, so he wants to be able to hold this easily, and he will. And I tell you, this is a beautiful game to learn from, honestly. Like, if you are a player, like, both the builds these guys are doing are very, very good, very standard as well, and they're both making like a lot of good moves against each other. The who has an edge, I feel like, keeps switching back and forth a little bit. I do feel like Soma's outplaying Rush a little bit this game. His Ling usage has been amazing. And look at this, the Ling counterattack up the second ramp as this army moves forward. What he's doing here is he's killing off these turrets and saying, hey, my mutas are still an issue. And he's going to lose that turret as well. Right? Yeah. Just barely going to lose that before the SCV can get there. Gets blocked from its repairing. Now, eventually, you actually want those turrets gone, but not while the mutas are still out. So there is some potential for him to run up and harass here again. That's very annoying. Do you try to remake that? How do you deal with that? It looks like he's going to leave a little Bioforce there for now. Now, lurkers, a ton of lurkers are done, and he's going to run them forward. This is a scary moment for Rush. Okay? Ooh, yeah, you don't want to do that. That's a lot of lurkers. If those lurkers get into a position like here where Rush can't move around anymore, that's where you lose a game real fast. So he does stim here, and the lurker spines will kill quite a few. Excuse me. A lot of Marines come up for a reinforcement, which is very, very important. The mass amount of lurkers here up at the front, and he's got to make sure that these lurkers do not penetrate towards his natural. More Marines coming out. He does have a third command center being built on location there. Looks like Soma will turn around. We can see Consume is almost done. That's the scary part, right? If they get the containment on you, the Defiler just walks up and kills you, right? Throws down a Darkstorm. If you get a Darkstorm in your natural, that is almost always game. All right, Defiler coming up. So there's a lot of scary things going on. So Soma defending this secondary ramp right there. That's the close by ramp. So he's defended that. He sent the Defiler up. Consume just is about to finish, and he's going to try to push in here. Already utilized his vessel energy, has 2 more vessels. They're not ready, so he's got to buy time with this until he has the irradiates to push us all back. Now, the Marines do make him throw down the Darkstorm pretty early. Okay, comes up. Ooh, almost gets that one. Doesn't quite get it. Might want to start mixing a bunch of fire bats in. Yeah, look at that. He starts making fire bats immediately. He realizes, okay, this isn't a ton of lurkers, but it's still dangerous. Definitely need to take it seriously. And fire bats are sometimes a great way to do that. You can clear out like 1-2 lurkers pretty easily with a group of those. So a Darkstorm up this ramp. Looks like Soma deciding, you know what, he can't get to the natural. He's going to try to push that third base. And up comes Rush. He has a couple fire bats, so he's decided to come up and actually attack into those Zerglings. You might actually, well, hold on. He's going to try to bust this lurker as well, and he does have a fire bat in there, so he is going to be able to do that. The Darkstorm runs out as well. Going to take a little bit of damage there on those vessels, but continues to push forward. Forces the Darkswarm up here. And, okay. I feel like he's done such a good job holding this back, but Soma is relentless on these 3 bases, just pushing forward with more lurkers, with more Defilers, trying to make it happen. And he is going to run up into this third base as well. Throws down that beautiful Darkstorm. There are fire bats up here, but it's not going to matter. Not enough to make a difference against that many. So this base is kind of screwed right now. There are a lot of fire bats, and it looks like a counterattack. Now, this is a great move. He's cutting off reinforcements. This is one of the main things. Not only is he threatening damage, but the reinforcements have to go through this area. So he's cut that off. These are some good counter Darkstorms with the Lings, kind of forcing this army back. Rush will pull back here. He's still got a very healthy vessel count there. Still has some lurkers up here, which are very annoying to deal with. And it looks like he's getting some mines. Mines going to be the best factory unit, basically, that you can make against such an aggressive push. You just lay mines down so that they can't really push into you with that heavy lurker composition. Now, the 3 lurkers on the high ground are incredibly difficult to deal with, as you can see. They're in a great spot. Very hard to break with Marines. You're going to have to utilize the radiates. So instead, Rush going to go for a counterattack. There is a base up here. I don't think that he knows about it. So that might he might get away with that. In the meantime, a little counterattack coming up. He does have a Defiler in here, but there's only 1 lurker. So this is not the scariest thing. Probably wants to target that down, but actually does miss that opportunity. Firebat's coming in for the flank. And he's going to just try to get rid of that lurker. Yeah, going to be able to get it as well. You can see the power of those fire bats. In the meantime, a counterattack into the natural. What a great game between these two. A ton of Scourge coming out, reducing that vessel count a bit. Still 4 remain, and he is pushing. No lurkers remaining here. Don't forget, Soma's played a very aggressive game. He was going for heavy damage, so he doesn't have those defending lurkers that he would have had otherwise. GG is called, and Rush will end up taking it. Wow, that was an excellent game. I feel like Soma was In the early portion of the game, like when you surrounded the Marines and medics up here and killed them off, or no, actually it was over here, sorry. That was huge. I feel like he took a bit of an advantage, and with that advantage, he tried that massive lurker push in this area, right? But if you're spending a ton of lurkers and defilers pushing, you're not going to have as many to defend. So as Rush was just barely holding the rest of them, he was able to do the counterattack, and there just weren't lurkers left over. Now, if you play a more turtled style, if you play closer to something, I don't know, that Larva might do or Sulky might do, he'll probably just utilize those lurkers like to hold this base, right? And he'll have lurkers at each base, and you just won't be able to break him, that type of thing. It's just a different style. No, one is not necessarily better than the other or anything. But anyways, guys, hope that you enjoy this awesome Soma versus Rush game. Thanks for watching.